Hold on to your stillsuit and get ready for a wild ride across the dunes of Arrakis. Dune: Awakening, the new open-world survival MMO from Funcom, throws you headfirst into a planet where sandworms are bigger than your ego, spice is more valuable than gold, and betrayal is as common as the scorching heat. Ready to build fortresses, pilot ornithopters, and decide whether you're a noble Atreides, a cunning Harkonnen, or simply a lone wolf searching for water. From the moment you step into Dune: Awakening, the game slaps you with a visual and narrative punch that makes you feel like a Fremen lost in a sandstorm. You are the awakened, a survivor in a post-apocalyptic Arrakis where House Atreides has fallen, and your mission is simple but brutal: survive, build, conquer, and, if you're lucky, not end up as lunch for a skyscraper-sized sandworm. Funcom has created an open world so vast that the dunes seem endless, and every landscape is designed to make you feel small, vulnerable, and, at times, a bit paranoid about what might be lurking behind the next hill. The game kicks off with a tutorial that teaches you the essentials: how to collect water, yes, even by squeezing your enemies like a desert vampire, how to build a shelter so you don't fry under the sun, and how to avoid being mistaken for a snack by a worm. Really grabs you is the atmosphere. The graphics, powered by Unreal Engine, are a spectacle. The sun burns with a blinding glare, sandstorms roar like they want to rip your skin off, and the horizon glows with that orange hue that screams Arrakis. The soundtrack, inspired by Denis Villeneuve's films, wraps you in tribal drums and synthesizers that make you feel like you're leading a Fremen crusade. The setting is from another planet, literally. Funcom has nailed the spirit of Dune, from the details of the lore to the feeling of being in a world that wants to kill you at every corner. If you're a fan of the saga, you'll feel like you're in a siege with air conditioning. The tutorial, though useful, might feel restrictive for veteran survival game players. It seems Funcom wanted to make sure even your cousin who's never touched a controller understands how to collect spice. But sometimes it feels like they're holding your hand too much. Also, the early missions are a bit generic, the usual "go here, fetch this" style, which might make the beginning slow for the impatient. One of the strongest points of Dune: Awakening is its character creator, which is so detailed you could spend hours sculpting the perfect face for your future leader. Of Arrakis want deep blue eyes from spice overuse, a scar that tells a tale of desert fights, or maybe a hairstyle that defies gravity and sandstorms. It's all possible. The system offers you 16 character presets, but customization goes far beyond. You can tweak height, build facial features, tattoos, makeup, and even small details like jaw shape or eye shimmer. But it's not all cosmetic. Your starting background, Mentat, Bene Gesserit, Sardaukar soldier, smuggler, etc., directly affects gameplay, giving you unique abilities that shape your experience. For example, a Mentat can analyze combat patterns to predict enemy moves, while a Bene Gesserit can use the voice to manipulate NPCs or players in certain situations. These choices make every character feel unique. Even on a server with thousands of players, the customization is brutally detailed and meaningful. You're not just creating an avatar, but a character with a story and abilities that impact your journey. It's like Funcom hands you a blank canvas to paint your own Paul Atreides or your own Baron Harkonnen, if that's your thing. The depth of the creator can be overwhelming for those who just want to jump into the desert and start stabbing things. Spending an hour adjusting your eyebrow angle isn't for everyone, and the game doesn't offer a quick start option for the impatient. Plus, some cosmetic options are locked behind microtransactions, which might annoy purists. The gameplay of Dune: Awakening is a cocktail of survival, exploration, combat, and politics, served with a dash of spice. The game is divided into 4 natural phases: survive, protect, expand, and control. You start as a castaway with a knife and an empty bottle, struggling to stay hydrated and safe from the sun. Then you build bases, form alliances, or betray your friends and fight for control of Arrakis. The open world is gigantic, with cities like Arrakeen, Harko villages, and Fremen sieges full of players to trade with, collaborate with, or stab in the back. The survival mechanic is the heart of the game. You constantly need water, or you'll dehydrate and die. You can gather it from plants, enemies, or even by recycling your own. Well, let's say body moisture with your stillsuit. Sandstorms force you to find shelter, and sandworms appear if you make too much noise, like using explosives or running like crazy. These mechanics are immersive and keep you on edge, though they can sometimes feel repetitive if you spend hours. Gathering resources. Exploring Arrakis is a delight. You can pilot ornithopters to soar over dunes, use suspensor belts to climb cliffs, or walk like a Fremen with a sandhook. The map is full of details: ancient ruins, spice fields, player bases, and dynamic events like storms or worm raids. Each zone has its own vibe, from the rocky canyons of the North Pole to the sand seas of the equator. Combat mixes action and strategy. Shields, true to Dune lore, block fast projectiles, favoring slow weapons or melee combat. You can use laser, pistols, swords, grenades, or even spice traps to surprise your enemies. However, melee combat is the Achilles heel. Strikes lack weight, and the first to hit usually wins, making fights more about reflexes than skill. Ranged combat is more solid, but enemy PvE AI, like bandits or wildlife, is predictable, which lowers the challenge in the long run. PvP is optional but thrilling. You can join factions, Atreides, Harkonnen, or player guilds, and take part in massive battles over spice fields or key territories. The reputation system lets you climb the Landsraad, gaining influence to shape the server. However, in low-population servers, PvP can be scarce, and finding rivals requires patience. Politics is a strong point, with betrayals, alliances, and trades that make every interaction a risk. Freedom is immense. You can play as a lone wolf, guild leader, or cunning diplomat. And the survival mechanics are immersive and faithful to the lore. Dynamic events and massive PvP are pure adrenaline. Melee combat is clunky and needs more depth. PvE gets repetitive in the endgame, and empty servers make the world feel too big. Also, grinding for advanced resources can be exhausting. The building system is one of the pillars of Dune. Awakening. You can create anything from a basic shelter to a fortress worthy of a duke, with modules for power, storage, and defenses. Blueprints are unlocked through experience or bought in the trade. A player marketplace where everything from weapons to base designs is for sale. Building is intuitive, with a grid system that prevents your base from looking like a jigsaw puzzle gone wrong. The economy is another success. Spice is the main currency, and harvesting it is addictive, but dangerous worms are not fans of miners. You can sell resources, blueprints, or services like mercenary work in the trade, which encourages social interaction. Resources respawn quickly, even on full servers, avoiding the frustration of classic MMO. Building is a pleasure, with options for all playstyles. Bartering brings the economy to life, and seeing other players' bases adds personality to the world. Initial building is slow, and the best blueprints require hours of grinding. Rare resources are poorly balanced, which can frustrate casual players. In addition, microtransactions for cosmetic blueprints are a black mark. The graphics section is a highlight. The sandstorms are so realistic, you almost feel the sand in your eyes. The sandworms are terrifying and majestic, and the landscapes of Arrakis are a love letter to Dune. Unreal. Engine shines with technologies like Lumen for dynamic lighting and adjustable shadows, allowing performance optimization. Graphic customization is generous, with options for both low-end and high-end PCs. However, the beta has optimization issues. Micro-stutters are common in crowded areas, and occasional lag in full servers can break immersion. The minimum requirements are reasonable: RTX 2060, 16 GB RAM. But lower settings sacrifice too much visual quality. The graphics are spectacular, with a living and detailed Arrakis. The graphic options are flexible for all types of hardware. Microstutters and lag are a nuisance, especially since they come from the beta. Funkom needs to polish stability. Funkom reimagines Dune without Paul Atreides, placing the player as the protagonist of an alternate Arrakis. The main story follows your rise from castaway to leader, with missions exploring the Landsraad, the Fremen, and the secrets of the sandworms. The lore is rich and faithful to Frank Herbert, with nods to the novels and movies. Decisions affect your reputation and alliances, shaping the world dynamically. However, the narrative can feel scattered in such an open MMO. The main missions are epic but diluted among side activities. And the dialogues, although well written, sometimes lack emotional impact. Lore fans will be delighted, but newcomers may get lost without context. The lore is deep and respectful, with a story that makes you feel powerful. The reputation, system, and decisions are a great addition. The main narrative gets lost in the chaos of the open world, and the dialogues don't always connect. Don't expect a Herbert novel. Dune: Awakening lets you play 100% solo, but it shines in multiplayer. Building bases as a team, trading through barter, or facing rival guilds is infinitely more fun. Persistent servers are full of other players. Bases, making the world feel alive, although direct encounters are rare on such a large map. Global events, like massive storms or worm raids, unite the community in epic moments. Social interaction is a strong point. With a dynamic world and events that foster cooperation or betrayal, guilds add a layer of strategy. Playing alone can feel empty, and low-populated servers reduce the MMO epicness. The lack of a matchmaking system for PvP is a flaw. The endgame of Dune: Awakening focuses on the control of Arrakis. You can lead a guild to dominate spice fields, participate in faction wars, or become a barter tycoon. Server events, like the election of a new emperor in the Landsrod, keep the interest alive, but advanced PvE content is limited. High-level missions feel repetitive, and the lack of raids or complex dungeons disappoints fans of traditional MMOs. The political and PvP endgame is addictive. With a focus on strategy and influence, high-level PvE is weak. And the lack of variety in advanced missions may bore hardcore players. As a Dune fan, I fell in love with the atmosphere of Dune. Piloting an ornithopter while dodging a worm is one of the most epic things I've ever played, and building my own Fremen fortress made me feel like a desert genius. But clunky combat and technical stutters earned more than one curse in Fremen. It's a game with brutal potential, but it needs patches to reach greatness. If you love Dune and survival MMOs, it will hook you. If you're looking for polished action or a robust endgame, wait a bit. After riding the dunes and dodging in Dune: Awakening, it's clear that Funkom has created an MMO as ambitious as a Fremen dreaming of a green Arrakis, with an open world that makes you feel the sand under your boots, customization that turns you into the protagonist of your own epic, and a building system that awakens the architect within you. This game is a feast for Dune fans and survival lovers. But, like an ornithopter in a storm, it has turbulence, clunky combat, technical stutters, and an endgame that still needs more spice to shine. Is it the messiah of MMOs? Not yet, but with patches and love, it could lead a revolution on Arrakis. So, do you dare to conquer the desert, or prefer to wait for the sands to settle? Tell me in the comments what you think. Subscribe for more epic adventures, and may the spice always flow in your favor.